Let's talk about how to apply PEMDAS. We're going to do negative absolute value of negative 3 plus 2 cubed minus negative 4 times 1 minus 5 squared, all of that we want to take the absolute value of, plus negative 2 to the fourth times negative 1 squared plus 3 all to the power of negative 2. Okay, so let's start with P. We want to look for all of the groups inside parentheses and deal with those first. And remember that absolute value acts as a parentheses. So let's take a look at this part first. We have the absolute value. We're treating that like parentheses. Inside the absolute value, though, we have another set of parentheses. So let's deal with that first. So first, 1 minus 5, that is negative 4. And then we're just going to rewrite everything else. We've simplified what's inside this parentheses, so now we can actually do the exponent. So we have negative 4 squared, so that's the same thing as negative 4 times negative 4, so 16. And again, rewriting everything. So inside here, again, we're going to start over with parentheses now that we're inside this space. Negative 4 times 16 is negative 64. And we can go ahead and move on to exponents now. So 2 cubed, that's 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. Moving over, let's go ahead and deal with what's inside these parentheses and these parentheses as well. Okay, so here, this is an exponent, so we'll save that for the next step. This is inside parentheses, so negative 1 squared is going to be positive 1 plus 3. We still have this absolute value, which is acting like a parentheses. Inside there, we have a negative 64. Double negatives make a positive, so positive 64. And then here we have 8 and negative 3. Okay, back to this side. Inside the parentheses, we have a 1 and a 3, which makes 4. And the difference between these two parentheses is not important. I'm just writing it this way because it's easier. And now I have less things inside, so it's easier to see what's happening. Let's now turn our attention to the exponents. So we did the parentheses, and now we're on exponents. Negative 2 to the fourth. So that means we're doing negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4, so 16. And then here we have 4 to the power of negative 2. Remember that when we have a negative exponent, everything goes into the denominator. So we have 1 over 4 squared. And those are still being multiplied. All right, coming back to this exponent here inside the parentheses, 4 squared is 16. So we have 16 times 1 over 16. Now let's deal with what's inside these parentheses. We're going to do multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, because all of the parentheses and exponents inside here are done. We don't have any multiplication or division, so we move right to addition and subtraction. And for those, we always go from left to right, the same way that we read. So negative 3 plus 8 is 5. And then again, 5 plus 64 is 69. Okay, we are almost done here. Back to parentheses in a sense. This absolute value, we want to know what is the distance from 0 of 69, just 69, because it's already positive, and then we have that negative on the outside. Then we can move, so we've taken care of parentheses, exponents. Now let's do multiplication and division. 16 times 1 over 16 is 1, so that's multiplication and division. Then we have addition and subtraction, so we get negative 68.